Welcome back to my channel. As always, I hope you're doing absolutely amazing. I'm Zach Bell. This is Truckin It, and I need to discuss job loss, how to prepare for it, and what to do if it happens. So stay tuned. So you're in the situation where you are about to lose your job. Now, it could be for any number of reasons. And in the past couple weeks, I've heard of dozens of drivers getting let go by their trucking companies. Partly due to their companies closing down, partly due to personal situations, partly due to issues involving corporate management. So the first thing you need to do in the event of a job loss is to prepare for it beforehand. Job loss is inevitable in this industry. And I mean, there are drivers out there who have been with their employers for 35 and even 40 years that have ended up losing their jobs because their company went broke, or they had a medical emergency, or they had a situation involving the truck. So I want to discuss all that today. And if there's any suggestions that you can give to me so I can share this with the world, please feel free to leave a note in the comments. So the first thing is, in the event of job loss, you got to be prepared for it. And that's to have a plan, both financially and in terms of the logistics. Now, this plan is going to vary depending on who you work for, how far you're from a terminal, and how far you are from a terminal, and how you're going to handle this situation afterwards. Now, if you live in a major city or near one, like I do, it's going to be less of an issue. But it's going to be a lot more of an issue if you live out in the country. This means that you'll have to have extra resources if you are in that latter situation. First thing I'd suggest is a $1,000 emergency fund. It's the same suggestion that Dave Ramsey has, because let's face it, emergencies happen. For example, cars break down. Maybe your company shuts down and leaves you without a fuel card. Or you have that medical situation where you have to stop driving for a little bit and then run to a store and buy diabetic supplies. And I'm just using my diabetes as an example on that, but it can be frustrating, to say the least, when you have something come up last minute. So having $1,000 cash in the bank is always a good idea. The next thing I'm going to suggest is to know your company's policies and handbook to the letter. Because when a company shuts down, knowing that policy can make the difference between getting home and getting stranded. If your company notifies you the day before they close and they say we're going to open up your fuel card, you need to fuel that truck as soon as they open that card up. If you're dealing with the situation where you're actually quitting a job, it's always best to get your truck back to a terminal, truck stop, or other safe location. So that way, if they say you abandoned your truck, you say, "No, I didn't. I told your dispatcher where it is, and you can go ahead and recover it right now." Which leads me to the third situation. What you do if you're on a lease purchase program, or if you own your own truck. Now, if you own your own truck, this is going to be easy. You can just go to another employer right away and they'll help you transfer title, license plates, etc., along with that big old sign that says lease to. If you're dealing with the situation where you're a lease purchase driver, on the other hand, you have a few options, but they're not that great. Now, this is going to depend on if the lease purchase is through your employer, through an independent company, or through a dealership. If it's through a dealership, you're in the best situation because you can just do what the owner-operators do and either turn your truck back into the dealership or take it to your next carrier. If you're a driver doing it through a third-party company like Lone Mountain, Penske, or Ryder, then check your contract to make sure there's no stipulation about who you can take it to if your employer shuts down. If there is a stipulation, make sure you follow the instructions to the letter. And if you're leasing directly from a company, for instance, if you're leasing from a company like Prime Truck Leasing LLC, a division of Prime Incorporated, or if you're leasing from Cedar Capital LLC, a third party that's affiliated with CRST Van Expedited, or you're leasing it from another firm that's owned by a trucking company or trucking company group, like Swift, Knight, etc. You really need to check your contract, and if they tell you to do so, take it back to the terminal. That's the best thing I can tell you, because they don't want to spend money on tow trucks, especially when they don't have it. Now, there's a fourth situation, though. That fourth situation is medical emergencies. Let's say you suddenly have diabetes onset because of the truck stop food and family history, etc. In some cases, you know diabetes is coming on. And I'm mentioning diabetes specifically because it can go without symptoms for several months, as it did with me. I would urge you to have a plan in case of a medical emergency as well. Not only with the $1,000 emergency fund, but also discuss with your employer what the plan is should a medical emergency happen on the road. And do so before it happens, because it will happen and it will bite you in the butt if you don't have a plan and can execute it. Now, if it's something major, the company might actually come and get the truck. But if it's something minor, you're responsible for cleaning the truck out yourself, and you're responsible for getting the truck back to the terminal or getting the load delivered. So, finally, there's the transportation home. Once that truck's back safely out of the terminal or the safe location, then you need to arrange for a taxi cab, bus tickets, or anything else you need to get back to your home terminal or get back to your house. Now, I've rode the buses before. They're fine, but not great. And that's just one option here in the U.S. I actually prefer flying or renting a car. Flying will at least get you close and is much faster than taking a bus or a train. And the real benefit of flying is that you can relax your whole way home once you get your baggage on board the plane. So, but in exchange, the trade-off of flying is that you got to have somewhere to put your stuff for a fairly long time. Because cleaning out the truck, you're going to have a lot of stuff accumulated, like CB radios, food, your cooler, etc. So, be prepared to part with a bunch of stuff if you're going to be flying home. If you're going to be driving home in a rental car, you'll have the advantage that you can take your stuff with you, and it'll be a lot easier. So, once you're home, this is the final part of your plan. Once you get home, or maybe while you're on the way home and at like a restaurant or something, start looking for new jobs. Because in the end, you're going to need it. And it's a lot faster to find a job right away if you can show you have experience. And if your company closes down, there may even be accommodations from other companies to get you home or get you to a new job. So until next time, be prepared, be ready, and be safe. Let's make your next trip your best trip. And bye for now.